Hey, what's up, y'all? So I'm back with another Road to CCNA video, and in this lecture we covered DHCP snooping. Now, DHCP snooping is used to filter out DHCP messages received on untrusted ports. And when it comes to configuring DHCP, all ports are considered untrusted by default, but as a general rule of thumb for configuring DHCP, uplink ports are considered trusted, and downlink ports or ports connected to in-host are considered untrusted. Now, on a very basic level, how all of this works, let's say we have switch 2 and it receives a DHCP discover message from a PC on an untrusted port. So when it gets to that untrusted port, the switch 2 will basically check out that message, make sure everything's good before being forwarded to the following device. And if it passes the check, it's good. If not, it'll just drop the frame. Now, DHCP snooping is useful against a lot of different attacks. One of the main ones we covered today was DHCP starvation, and that's basically like a denial of service attack when an attacker uses a bunch of like spoof MAC addresses to flood the switch with a bunch of DHCP discover messages in hopes to shut it down. And a cool thing about DHCP snooping, you can actually limit the amount of DHCP messages you can get on an interface from untrusted ports. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the overall goal of DHCP snooping. I am going to get into more of the details while we work through this lab right here. So let's get right to it. Okay, so starting off with number 1, we're going to configure R1 as a DHCP server. Exclude that IP range from the pool, and this is the default gateway. So whenever these guys over here need an IP address, they're going to send a DHCP discover message to this switch in hopes to get a IP address from R1 right here. So let's get to it. Okay, so I got number 1 done. We did the IP DHCP excluded address command. This is the range of addresses that will not be handed out. I configured the DHCP pool right here, assign the network that it's going to be a part of, that network right there, and then assign the IP address of R1 192.168.1.1 as the default gateway or default router. All right, now we're going to configure DHCP snooping on switch 1 and switch 2. Configure the uplink interfaces as trusted ports. Now, like I said earlier, by default, all interfaces are considered untrusted. So we're going to go in there. We're going to set up DHCP snooping, and we're going to configure, like they said, the uplink ports as trusted ports. Okay, so I just configured DHCP snooping on switch 1. We did this command right here. And then we assigned it to the VLAN as well because I had to check and make sure. So you always want to make sure you assign DHCP snooping to the VLAN that's active. And also the no IP DHCP snooping information option. So we talked about this briefly. So whenever a DHCP client sends a discover message, an option 82 message, I believe it's called, will get attached to that message that they send, and then that will cause the switch to drop it, or any networking device to drop it, because it doesn't trust it with that 82 option over there. So that command right there keeps them from adding that option on there. Now that that first part is done, we got to go in and configure the uplink interfaces as trunk ports. So that will be, this interface right here will be trusted. These 3 will not be trusted. So let's go do that right now. All right, just did the command. Now we're going to do the same thing on switch 1. Okay, so we just configured everything on switch 2. I'll go up right quick. Yep. So yeah, we got that. Now it's for number 3. We're about to use ipconfig/renew on PC1 to get an IP address. Does it work? Why or why not? Okay, so we are now in PC1, and we're about to see if we can get a new IP address. Let's see. Okay, we got one. Okay, so why did everything work out? Like, why did I receive an IP address from the DHCP server? Well, I could say because I configured it right, but like on a deeper level, starting with PC1, I did this command right here. This makes PC1 send a DHCP discover message to this port. This port has DHCP Snooping on it. So, and these interfaces right here are all untrusted because they're pointing towards the end host. So it goes through a check, and the check is the MAC address of that PC has to match the Chadar address. What is that? What is that address? Client hardware address. If they match, then it goes on to the next switch. This one right here. And this is also coming from an untrusted port, but it does the same check and it passed there. So it was able to get to R1 and receive its DHCP offer. Then it goes back with the DHCP request. And then the R1 sends back the DHCP acknowledge message. And there we have here our IP address that is out of the range that they asked us not to assign it in. But yeah, appreciate y'all. 1 second, let me just show y'all the MAC address does match. So that's the MAC address on PC1. And it received the .10 address and same MAC address. All right.